not recording. It's recording. It started recording. Yeah. Okay. How are you?
Okay, cool.
So
Sorry, did you say something? I didn't hear, sorry.
I just re-asked how you are doing in general.
Yeah, I'm good. You know, today is a little bit gloomy. It's been gloomy where I am,
Ah,
so
yeah.
it's just like staying inside and
Yeah.
stuff, working, not really going out much. Yeah, how are
I'm
you?
good. I'm good. It's been cold. It's get a lot
Mm-hmm.
more colder than it was before, but I think I've adapted well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. I like the cold, so it's not a problem for me, but like,
Do you take?
it's different for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. I started taking cold showers like yeah,
Oh my
last year.
gosh.
Yeah. That did like a really good. I mean, that was really good for my body. Like I just adapted so very well. I was
Mm,
wearing like Hawaiian shirts in like 3 degrees C outside. So yeah,
really?
yeah. There's
Wow.
photos to prove it. But yeah, like I was just just one layer of like a t-shirt or something, and I was good.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've heard that cold showers are actually supposed to be healthy for you, but I don't think I could ever do that. I don't think I have the mental fortitude for that.
Yeah, yeah, no, it definitely it's like it's almost like a practice that you have to sort of get in. Like you can't
Hmm.
just transition from like hot to cold. You have to do the annealing thing where you do like alternate hot and cold sort of bouts of water on your head so that you get adjusted to it.
Mm, makes
Yeah,
sense. It's kind of like when you're in a hot tub and then you jump in the regular
yeah,
pool.
yeah, something like that. Yeah, you want to avoid that as much as possible. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So what are the things that interests you? Obviously, we got on well with the YouTube comment back and forth, but what
Yeah.
was it exactly that sort of captured your attention? I remember you saying something about the collective unconscious.
Mm. So I was actually thinking about this in relation to the YouTube
Mhm.
video. Um, and I think at that time I wasn't entirely understanding it because I watched it pretty late at night, so I was a little
Yeah.
tired. But I was thinking about this idea of collective unconscious and how when we are regarding these systems that we are in, these systems can be found throughout all the world, like these institutions that you're talking about that kind of shape our identities and how we move through the world. And then I was thinking, could this be related to collective unconscious where because we're all human, we have this like innate, I don't know, wiring to like subscribe to these institutions, and then, that just makes us behave in a certain way because it's like nature versus nurture, right? I don't know. And I thought it was really interesting, but I don't think that's entirely what collective unconscious refers to. It's like kind of woo-woo stuff if you've read about it. I don't
No,
know.
I don't think it's woo-woo at all. I mean, when you first said it, I was like, wow, that's like a really interesting term because, you know, I think most of us, most of humanity, most of the human civilization, as I like to call it, is asleep at the wheel. Like they're doing things in
Mm,
their daily lives. They don't know why they're doing it, but apparently they have to do it. And the idea of institutions that the definition that I subscribe to is basically an organization with a relatively fixed set of ideologies and more or less fixed set of people that subscribe to it, where um, you're sort of subscribing to that institution just because your neighbor did it without actually critically
hmm.
examining if you want to do it or not. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like because humans are such social animals, I think there's like this a lot of theories in psychology and sociology of where because this in-group out-group kind of idea of you want to be in the in-group because that's where you're protected, that's where there's more safety and security and support. So this idea that everyone is subscribing to these institutions, why should I not, you know?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think it's like a group thing, right? Like the herd mentality sort of a
Mm-hmm.
thing. Um, I think we all have what it means to be like a functional, like we have ideas about what it means to be like a functional adult in life. And
Hmm.
I think that itself is so very dysfunctional. I mean, it's dysfunctional because we don't really get to choose it. We just see our parents or like teachers at school do certain things, and we get introduced to like our uncles and aunts, and they're doing the same sort of a thing. They went through a particular route of academia, or did not, or like joined the business at a very young age, and we just think that okay, that's what I have to do because that's all that's in my line of sight. Um,
Hmm.
and so I think in I think we're limited when it comes to exposure, and I think this is like a Gen Z thing as well. That we've been so lucky to be blessed with the internet that we have started to categorize things as functional and dysfunctional. Like basically being able to see through the bullshit that the older generations thought of as normal,
Mm.
and they just accepted it. Okay, like this is how life must should be lived, and that's it. We don't get to question it. There's no time for any dissonance. There's no time to pay attention to any dissonance that we might feel with the collective order. Sort of. Does
Mm.
that sort of make sense?
No, I understand what you're saying. And it actually, see, I was like talking to some friends yesterday and we were talking about this. When I was in college, I took like a folklore class. So you'll see where I'm going with this. Just wait, trust the
Of course.
process. Um, I took a folklore class and, a lot of folklore is very, what's the word? Superstitious. Um, But in that class, my professor, like, we read a lot of articles, and these articles were saying that even though these practices were seen as superstitious, they were held about, and these folklore tales were told orally because that is how we pass down knowledge to keep us safe.
Yeah. Oh my
Like,
God.
it's really interesting, and I think in this modern age, because we have such a higher degree of safety, that's where this comes out of why live such a monotonous life when I could be doing so much more. But then it's built on this foundation of this is what worked in the past and it still works now. Not that it necessarily has to. There can always be a different method of going about living your life and you will still have a productive life. But like there's just so many more options now. It's like, well, where do we even start? It's like we're in this cusp of a generation just coming off of the invention of technology. Like there's so much to be discovered.
Yeah, no, I get exactly what you mean. I mean, it's like there's this corpus of wisdom that the elders want us
Mm,
to just absorb instead of, getting to that wisdom on our own uh, of our own accord. And I think it's like a lot of that wisdom holds, but I think it's like this thing where you're being forced. It's almost like you're being forced to accept wisdom that you might not necessarily agree with, and it's like you need to take your own path to go out there,
mm,
make meet some people, do some things, make mistakes, and discover that wisdom for yourself. Or you think you can at least think along those lines. It's like it, basically, I think we've all got a problem with elders sort of telling us exactly what to do, not giving us reasons why to do it. But then, we might end up discovering, oh, okay, they were right all along, or
yeah.
or
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
yeah, or we're like, yeah, okay, there was a lot of wisdom that they were actually right about, but there's a certain set of wisdom that I've discovered on my own that they're just unaware of.
Mm. Could you give some examples? I'm interested.
Yeah. Okay, so sleep schedules is a very big thing. Like, you know,
Really?
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, it's something off the top of my head. Might not be accurate with respect to, might not match up with your expectations, but for an example, I mean, but it's like, okay, maybe I don't really have a good example for it. Uh,
No. I'm interested in this sleep schedule thing that you're talking about. I'm
Yeah,
interested.
it's like go to bed, go to sleep early, and rise up early as well. So I think that's got a
Mm,
lot to do with how your melatonin levels rise and drop with respect to the sunlight that's available, uh,
hmm
and that is surprisingly accurate, I think. Um,
Yeah.
and then there are loads of other things that they do tell you to, go to, you should go to school, university, get a master's degree, do this, do that, and you should just take a stable 9 to 5 job. Don't do anything that sort of disturbs the order that we've seen otherwise, like the things that we might have done for ourselves. Or, I mean, that's just an example that's specific to me. But I'm sure, like, do you think you'd like to add to the examples? I don't know. Or what's your thought on that?
No, I agree. I think it's like this coming back to this just it's what has worked throughout these generations. Actually, I know this is like a random fact, but back in the Victorian era, they would have this biphasic sleep pattern. Do you know
Yeah,
this?
yeah, yeah. They sleep for 4 hours, wake up for 2 hours, and go to sleep again, right?
Yeah, yeah, and like that's not even something anyone would consider doing nowadays. Like, be like, no, just sleep throughout the night. Why would you sleep in two
Yeah.
phases? It's really strange. But like, it's like we adapt to the situation we're given, but I don't know. It's very, I feel like what we're talking about, what we're referring to is very interlaced with technology of, I think the industrial period, like that probably changed working schedules, sleep schedules, so that would affect, you know,
Yeah.
how people sleep. They sleep through one big chunk throughout the night. I don't know. I can't really think of any knowledge that, or just, I guess, ideas of my mind went blank of things that I do that has broken away from tradition, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. Um, One of the things that I can think of is like relationships and marriage. I
Mm,
think we have deviated, like, because with the rise of feminism, you've got changing gender roles, or even
hmm
the norms that are associated with, which are gender affiliated, and you're like, okay, that's no longer working. And marriage in itself is basically an institution of sorts, which is uh, I mean, if it's not breaking down, it's definitely evolving into something new that did not exist at the time of our parents. I mean, where I come from, my parents were like, married really young, and really young with respect to, like, they married when they were like 27 years old. I'm
mm,
28, and I cannot imagine doing that right now. So,
yeah.
so that's something that I think has changed.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think, well, because so when we're thinking sorry, antiquity, marriage is like, for procreation of life to continue the work and to help support the family as the parents get older. So, and child death rates were so high because they didn't have modern medicine. Now we have modern medicine and the birth rates are falling drastically. Like no one wants to have children, which I don't blame them in this current political environment. Like I don't blame not wanting to have kids. But it's really interesting. Just like yeah, all these ways that the world is changing and we are changing not just how we live our lives, but how we regard the world around us. I don't even know how to start thinking about it. Like you think about it in these certain ways, but then when you think about it on a macro level, it's like, well, where do you even begin to comprehend how this is changing?
I don't think you can. I think it's like a chaotic system, isn't it? With a very
Mm,
non-linear trajectory that you might not be able to predict, like the butterfly effect, basically. Um,
hmm
so you said something which caught my eye, which is that with modern medicine, we can save, like, we're not in the dark ages where you're like starting reproduction at like the age of 14, and you're like having 10 kids, which
Yeah.
like six of them get killed or something. And I think the same goes with wisdom, right? Technology changes the way we live, and because of that, you've got to change the wisdom to apply to our specific case. Otherwise, it's no longer wisdom. It's just advice that
Mm,
worked for some other people in some other, in a completely different situation which no longer exists.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's really interesting, with respect to thinking about where we're going. Um, I don't think it would be very easy to do that. I think it's yeah, I don't think we'd be able to think about where this might lead to.
Yeah. I mean, if I were more educated and I had a lot of, graphs to study and, I was a scholar, maybe I could, but I just graduated university.
No, I don't think that's true. I don't think with the knowledge of just because you know how to manipulate numbers and stuff. I think you can only do that if you have like a very sort of acute sense of like this almost superpower type sense of what the world is doing right now. And I think unless and
Mm,
until you know yourself, I don't think you'll be accurately able to project like a model that actually fits the world in terms of where it is. And I think um, I might be putting this in terms of I might not be able to explain this precisely, but it's basically this sense of modeling the world. See, I'm rambling too much. I basically mean to say that.
no, I'm interested. Keep going.
Okay, yeah, that puts me. Yeah, that takes some pressure away. Um, we form models of the world that are based on our internal emotional states and the things that
Mm-hmm.
we've learned throughout life. So we model the world, and we stick by it. But the problem is, uh, the problem with that comes in is a bias that you introduce, which is uh, where everything you thought you've experienced before, you keep experiencing the same thing over and over again. I'm forgetting what the name was. Conservation bias was it? Was it? Let me,
Oh, confirmation
confirmation
bias. Yeah, yeah,
bias.
yeah.
Yeah, couldn't grab for the word. So confirmation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I do that sometimes. I don't know.
I do it all the time. I'll do it a lot more today too.
So yeah, you've got a confirmation bias where you're basically projecting what you've experienced before onto the world. That the world's like this. The
Mm-hmm.
world's either cruel or the world is blah blah blah, and this is how it will be. So I'll make decisions that are in lines with my model of the world without updating it. So it's like where you
Mm,
experience reality, the decisions that you take are all dependent on how you've modeled the world. And if you're ready to
mm,
change your model as new information arrives, only then will you be able to take decisions that are in lines with the world, with the reality that we're living in, and vice versa as well. You'll only end up in the worlds that you think you're already in. Does that make sense?
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very hard to change your model of the world because it's so deeply ingrained in your core that it's something that is even unconscious that you don't even understand. Like that's where confirmation bias comes in. Whereas if something occurs that changes what your core ideal is, that's kind of breaking your own reality. So of course we're going to have this confirmation bias of, oh no, and I'll twist it this certain way to fit my own reality. I'm sure I do it. I mean, I can't think of any examples, but like it's it's very hard. It's kind of like, did you do Santa when you were younger?
Sorry, did I do what?
Did you believe in Santa when you were young?
Um, for a brief period of time, I suppose. I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was it when you like found out that Santa wasn't real?
I don't think I was, that sold on the idea, but like that.
You're a very realistic kid.
Yeah, I don't know. Unrealistically pragmatic kid, I suppose. I don't think I
Mm,
believed in the tooth fairy for a while, but then I was like, okay,
mm,
that's not real because I just saw a dad sneak in like a couple of books under my pillow. But it was very brief. Like I think I lost two of my teeth, and and after that I knew who was placing it. So it was
mm,
definitely. it was definitely not a very good experience. Sorry, what was your question again?
I was asking if you believed in Santa because I know, I mean, at least for the states where I grew
Yeah.
up, that was like traumatizing to kids to find out that Santa was not real.
And how was your experience? So okay. Yeah, it's like you believe in this sort of all positive, all good energy, which is like there's this guy who's going around the world giving kids gifts because they deserve it, just for being, well, good kids, not naughty. I
Mm,
suppose there's still some, a bit of conditionality there, but upon discovering that that doesn't exist, I'm sure it would have. It's yeah, it's like traumatizing with respect to, oh, this doesn't exist.
mm. Yeah, and that it's like, I mean, essentially it is reality breaking to find out that magic doesn't exist. And I mean, as a kid, I was never, oh my gosh, sorry, I don't know if you can hear that dog, it's really barking.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I was never raised believing in Santa because, I come from a family of realists apparently. But so I didn't get to experience that, but I've heard from other accounts that it was, you know, shattering to a reality. It kind of takes away the magic and I guess liveliness of life. And I think that can be associated with if something comes into your reality that breaks your core values, like where do you go from that? It's like everything changes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I think so. So I think I read an article about this by a guy called Alfie Kohn. He's from the States as well, and he writes a lot about. He's basically a critique of the education system in America, uh, and
Mm,
he basically wrote about this thing about breaking it to the kids that Santa doesn't exist. Um, but it's like why he basically he basically came up with an argument which was that why does being realistic about the world sort of has to be completely at the other end of actually believing in Santa Claus, because you can believe in Santa Claus as an idea, as an ideal human being, and believe the
mm,
goodness that Santa represents, and you don't necessarily have to associate that with an actual delusional belief that, okay, there's a man on the North Pole that's traveling faster than the speed of light and going around distributing gifts to kids around the world, and also functioning as a coal smuggler. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's like totemism, isn't it? Like there's this symbol that you can believe in. I don't know where I'm going with this.
no, I think it's interesting because as you say that, why does reality and realism have to combat or work against believing in something that is good and having that model, I guess, for goodness in the world? And that kind of errs on the idea of religion and how I don't want to offend people. I'm not particularly religious myself, but this idea that religion in itself, gods and deities, I don't know how you stand on it. Um, because religion is a model of how we live our lives. It's a model of how to be good and how to live like a productive life. So why is, at least the Catholic Church, science so opposing and, you know, to religion?
Yeah. Yeah, I think, science has taken a personality of its own with respect to what scientists like scientists at the forefront of research doing things what they like to believe, and it almost it's there's this almost uh, subterranean pressure that you feel when you're doing science, that, oh, you have to be an atheist. Uh,
Mm,
and I mean, the right way to go about it is to be agnostic, according to me, where, I don't know if there is a God or not. but you know, um, but there's this sort of sentiment that just because um, you cannot explain it through conventional science, necessarily makes it false. Um, and
Hmm.
there's this sort. It's almost become like, yeah. There was this thing that atheism has itself become a religion of sorts, where you don't. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, yeah. So it's almost you're being dogmatic about even any chance of order in the universe, which might be like a super intelligent life, which might be controlling us. Like they've got these theories about that all life is simulation, where aliens are simulating. Yeah, so
Like the
yeah,
Matrix?
Matrix, basically like the Matrix. So they
Yeah.
can accept that, but for some reason they're like, okay, no, this absolutely artificial thing that your mind created, God, that doesn't exist.
Mm.
So yeah, I think it's got more to do with syntax and semantics rather than any actual sort of belief that okay, God does or does not exist. And yeah, I think you know I think I blame the social sciences for this one because I don't think they've advanced enough to be able to explain religion and faith from a scientific standpoint. Like actually
Mm.
doing the math and actually using logic to break things down about why people do what they do and what they believe in and why they believe in it. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. I do, first of all, I agree. Very much do. But I was thinking, at least this is my belief for myself, that there is so much of this universe we don't understand, and there are things that we cannot perceive. Like there are colors we can't even see because we just don't have enough rods and cones in our
Yeah.
eye. So the fact that something like a god could exist, I'm not going to deny that fact, but it's not something that like we could even comprehend. Like scientifically, I suppose there is a way to, it's like that color. They're like shining that color into, that new green color they discovered last year is like you shine
Oh, I
it
have no.
and you can only see it. Oh yeah, you should look up that article. It's really
Yeah, yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
I can send
All
it to
right.
you. It's like a new color that can only be experienced through a certain laser that they like shine into your eye because it activates your cones and rods in a certain
Okay.
way.
Well, this is new stuff.
Yeah, yeah. But along those lines, like a technology could advance to the point where like we say, okay, there is something out there that is beyond our own perception but does exist. But as of right now, we have no way of proving that or experiencing it.
Yeah, so there's this theory. There's string theorists, like crazy
Mm,
physicists. They like to say that the world. I mean, their sort of claim, their sort of position on this is that the world has 11 dimensions to it, but we, yeah,
really.
yeah, but we are three-dimensional beings and are unable to
Hmm.
access the rest of the eight dimensions. So it's like just think of an ant, like a very small, basically bug that is walking on a cylinder, right? So it won't perceive the third dimension, like it won't know that it is just circling around the cylinder. For the cylinder is locally flat, so you'll just perceive the
Mm,
world as like a two-dimensional surface, and that's like the analogy that they drew, that because we are three-dimensional beings, our minds are basically unable to comprehend the other eight dimensions. Um,
hmm.
yeah, that's how the theory goes, and if that is true, then we might not even know about the existence of beings that are higher dimensional beings, like they should in.
Mm,
Oh, sorry, there's some noise from my end. Um,
it's all good.
that because we're unable to access those dimensions, we wouldn't know if they're like higher
Yeah,
dimensional beings that existed.
yeah. I didn't know that there's specifically 11. That is so interesting. But yeah, no, I like the
I mean,
Tesseract. Could only perceive the Tesseract. Yeah, that's really interesting. Um, oh, I had a thought and I lost it.
That's
Crap.
fine. We can wait. You can take your time. It's okay.
Yeah, yeah. Um, uh, yeah, we might have to move on. It might come back to me, it might not.
Either way is fine. Yeah.
Mm.
Um,
Oh, I remember what I was going to say.
mhm.
I remember when like AI started to first come out, I came up with this crazy, I was just like, talking out my ass. But I came up with this crazy thing. I said, what if we're just AI for higher life form?
Yeah, that's an
Isn't that fun, right?
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
So that basically means Matrix is real.
Yeah, no, that is truly, yeah, this could be a valid perspective, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
yeah, we're like
Mm,
life forms, like agents that have been deterministically simulated by like higher dimensional beings, and they're just like we're doing some kind of we're writing their reports in like and we're trying
yeah.
to file their research papers, and here's how you could write this in like 500 words,
Hmm.
like saying that's um, yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting and valid perspective.
Yeah. I mean, do I believe in it? Not really, but it's interesting to think about.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't know. So there was this. So that reminds me of this Noam Chomsky uh, Q&A session. So Noam Chomsky. Are you familiar with Noam Chomsky? Oh,
I'm
he's a
not.
linguist at MIT, and he basically deals with a lot of philosophical things. And at one time, a student, asked him in a seminar, "Do we have free will?" And one of his statements in like his like 200 page answer was that if we didn't have free will, why bother asking the question? So
Mm,
it's like, and that struck me. I was like, yeah, if we don't have free will, why would anyone want to even resolve that? Um,
that is
yeah,
true.
and the way that I think of it is that we would deterministically take a certain set of decisions, but within those limited choices of decisions, we can choose like which decision to take, because like
Hmm.
our biology and physiology and our nervous system, this sort of you know inclines us to only consider certain set of options. That's how I would
Hmm.
model it. I don't know about you. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I think that's really interesting because I remember I read this article. See, I read these articles and then I don't remember who they're written by. I just remember what they're about. But I read an article and you probably know about it. It was about this idea that free will cannot exist because our like lizard brain determines decisions for us before we even are consciously aware of it, which makes sense. Um, but yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, I think it's really interesting. But the idea to say, even if we don't have free will, or if we do, like, why question it? Yeah, I suppose. I'm still going to though, because I think it's really interesting. And I think just like human nature in large is we want to understand things. We want to discover things. So, of course, we're going to question these things. And maybe we'll never have an answer.
Yeah. Yeah, so that reminds me of this quote by this guy called Max Planck. What he said was that the sciences and knowledge really cannot answer the ultimate question of life because uh, we ourselves are a part of mystery, and we are the ones who've created that knowledge.
Mm,
So,
yeah. I think this idea of asking the meaning of life, I've always found it very strange because, I mean, I suppose in philosophy, like this existentialist philosophers, um, asking what is the meaning of life? Is there no meaning at all? why I don't think that there needs to be a reason to exist. Um, like maybe it's confusing because at certain aspects in your life, you might feel directionless, which I understand. But existence is inevitable. So why even question what the meaning of it is? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. It's like the meaning of life is anything that you want it to be. That was one good answer that I remember. Um,
Mm,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, and it sort of ties back into the thing that we were talking about earlier, which was that just accept whatever the elders tell us uh, to
hmm
expect from life, and just go on that path and derive meaning from practices and institutions that are shared by everyone. So there's definitely
hmm
meaning in doing things with other people. There was this, I don't know who said it, but there was like, if you want to bond with people, suffer together. Like, pick up tasks that you can do together and suffer. Um, and you find meaning in basically taking help from them and being there to help them when they need you. But I think it's ultimately got everything to do with whatever makes us feel like a rush of dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin. Like, okay, help, working with each other, that gives you oxytocin and serotonin, helping, being and so doing anything that is productive for the world and would sort of attract other people to work with you. That gives you a lot of dopamine to be motivated to do that stuff. Um, yeah, yeah. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I think this is kind of relating to what I have thought in the past when I was really, in the depths of analyzing what moralistically is good. So this is a really controversial topic, but I'll get into it. So moralistic ideology tends to state that what is good is what benefits the group or like other humans, society as a whole. But, let's say someone is psychopathic, sociopathic, they have those tendencies, and what is morally good to them is what benefits them themselves. If they want to push a grandma over in the street and that makes them happy, is that moralistically wrong? Everyone would say yes, but they would say no because it made me happy, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting thing to think about. Um, yeah, no, definitely. See, it reminds me of the trolley problem that you've got
Mm,
like five random strangers laying on one track, and you've got your grandma laying on the other track. And so, which track
hmm
do you choose to let the I think that the trolley is loose, and you either kill your grandma.
Yeah, you have to
Yeah,
pull
you
the
have to pull the
lever.
lever, yeah. And you either kill five random strangers or you kill your grandma. And
hmm
yeah, I don't know. I spent so much of my time, I think, analyzing this particular thing when I was like at uni. I'm just
Mm.
very over it. I don't know. What was your take on it? Like, do you? I mean, for the psychopath, yeah, I can get that. Like, but here's the thing: psychopaths usually don't gel well with each other. Is what I've read. Like, yeah,
Really?
because the one thing that psychopaths um, really lack is empathy, and empathy is usually connected
hmm
with these mirror neurons, where like you can feel the other person's pain, you can empathize with them, but because their nervous system is so very different, like physiologically different from a normal human being who can feel, the pain that others do. I don't think they'd ever be able to sort of bond that way and be like, oh, okay, we're in this together. I mean,
Mm.
that's what
Yeah.
that's why most psychopaths are usually serial killers, and they're usually just one or two acting.
Interesting. Yeah, that makes sense of that they can't relate to each other. I mean, maybe they can relate, but they can't like form connection. It's kind of sad though. Yeah, no, I agree. Also, can we pause? My cat is
That's
meowing. I
fine.
need to let him in. He's gonna meow his head off. Sorry about
Don't
that.
worry about it.
I'm gonna put you down here. Okay. Come here. Come here. Come here, dude. Yeah. Come on. Okay, sorry.
Oh, that's
Sorry,
oh my
sorry.
God, that cute cat. Is it an orange cat?
Yeah, he's orange. He's very orange. He might be on video. He might want to be on video.
Oh,
Yeah, you want to be on video? Sorry.
that's
You might have to cut that out.
that's fine. We can do it. We can do all the editing we want. Yeah. Or I mean, it's perfectly fine to put it up as it is, but if you want certain bits to be cut up, that's fine as well.
Yeah. It's up to you. It's
Ah,
up to you.
all right.
Where were we? Oh yeah, sociopaths.
Psychopaths and sociopaths. Yeah.
Yeah, so the trolley problem, oh my
By
gosh,
the way,
please stop.
you can feel free to jump topics. Like there's no obligation to stick on the same topic. Like I've got an ADHD brain, so it's like we can be all over the place. It's fine.
No, I have a lot of friends that have ADHD, and I'm just like, okay, we're moving on. So what I was thinking about is you said that this man, this is like a while ago, he's a linguist, and he was saying that if we don't have free will, why even ask the question? So I've been kind of really diving deep in linguistics because it's something that's really interesting to me. And I was an English major in school, so of course I'm going to be interested in linguistics. Um, it's interesting to me, what I've been kind of researching is how related everything is linguistically in our world. I don't know where I'm going with this. It's just really interesting to me because, okay, now I just blanked. I'm sorry.
Fine. Take your time and think as long as you want to.
Yeah. Um, how words like just like move across languages and how our language is affected by not only other languages, but the lexical drift that happens within our own language. And it's just so interesting. I think what interests me the most is how language will change in the age of technology because all this internet slang is insane, first of all. And second of all, we do have standardized language now. We have standardized rules, spellings, and stuff. So will it change that much? Will it not? It's really interesting.
I mean, in some sense, it's like millennial slang was very different than Gen Z slang. So I think it's
Hmm.
like you talk to a millennial and they'll go mad figuring out what Gen Z slang is. I mean, I'm already noticing that difference between Gen Alpha and me.
Yeah. Oh
Like
yeah.
they've got
Yeah, I
slang
noticed.
and I'm unable to figure out what they're using. So yeah. So
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah. So it's like. But it's so very interesting. Languages evolved in the past with respect to, the geography that you are located in. Now,
Hmm.
languages are evolving in a way that is dependent on the generation because we're all, regardless of geography, we're still connected through social media and we're all sort of sharing the same sort of codes and symbols to depict various things. But that sort of a thing is being categorized differently between different generations, and that's why we have like difficulty understanding slang that was like millennial slang and then Gen Z slang, and now it's Gen Alpha slang. So yeah, that's something interesting to think about.
Yeah, and even how words are repurposed. Like a lot of the slang has its roots in AAVE, and now it's just African American vernacular English. And now it's just, everyone is saying it. Really interesting.
By the way, do you
Hmm.
want to stop recording for a bit and then I can just start from like we can converse, we can chat for a few minutes and then I'll like take a break and then I can start recording again. I can push the two videos together. Yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. I might need to get a glass.
Recording. Record. Yes, it's started
Mhm.
recording. Yeah. Please
Yeah.
go on.
Okay. So I think the main argument about the death penalty is it, well, actually, how do I start this? This is like a huge topic, sorry. The death penalty, it's given to criminals where they're like, you did something so bad, you cannot be readmitted into society. Or there's a call from the public that's like, you know, pressure on the public saying this person needs to go. The main argument against the death penalty is it cannot be done in a way that is painless and humane. But is the death penalty itself inhumane because you're taking away like someone's life? Like you're basically ending, there's repercussions for their family, loved ones, their own potential at what they could become in the future. It's just really, I, it's crazy to me. But the thing is, throughout history, how we would settle justice mainly through, this is only, okay, let me preface. I took a history of punishment class because I was doing like a criminal justice degree. So in this class, we were talking about, this is mostly European history of justice. I can't speak for like other cultures, but in European history, most ways that justice was distributed was like through a family feud. So if you meet someone in the street, you have every right to kill them because it's a feud, and that's okay. In that sense, the death penalty kind of is like, you know, we were killing people in the past, but is it like, are we moralistically better than that in the future, or is it, the same? I don't know. It's just so. What do you think? I'll leave it open for you.
So I think the death penalty should be applied for. I think it should, not just depend on the kind of crime that's been committed, but also on the type of human the person is. I mean, I'd say psychopaths deserve the death penalty because there's a certain quality about them that makes them inhumane,
Mm.
uh, which is that they pathologically cannot feel or cannot engage in empathy for other people. And I mean, it's really about you're taking someone's life away. So you're in some senses that person doesn't deserve the human life that they are living. And for someone to be for that to be applicable to someone, I think it's like unbecoming of a human being. So I think it should be given to those who have done things that led to unbecoming of a human being. Does that make sense?
Mm. No, I understand what you mean. Um, so what I think about, I think this is interesting that you're mentioning for psychopaths because it's kind of this idea of rehabilitation. Could they be rehabilitated in the
Yeah.
future? And for psychopaths, it's a definitely no. Like they could never be rehabilitated. So is that like a factor that you think of?
Yeah, that's exactly in lines of what I'm thinking of. That's basically it.
Interesting. So like you cannot come back and become a productive member of society.
Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I, s- so like when we think of the institution of punishment, it's meant to protect other people in society from being injured by these people that are being incarcerated. Um, would you agree with that?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay, that's so interesting because I believe, just personally, that the death penalty should not be applied at all. Though
Uh-huh.
I do see what you mean. But I think there are just many better ways than saying this human life has no value. And it's not the fact that they can't be rehabilitated because perhaps that is true, but I think it like errs on the idea of eugenics, of like certain genes are not worthy of living.
Okay, wow, that is.
Sorry, that's
No,
big.
that's fine. Don't worry about it. Um, Let me think about that one for a sec.
Yeah, take your time, take your time.
Yeah, you're thinking. I mean, I don't think it's as simple as just genes, right? Because
Hmm.
you're taking not just the nature but the nurture of the person into account as well. Like the kind of like when you refer to a human being and their values and everything, it's basically referring to their nervous system rather than their genes, right? So
Hmm.
just because you had genes that predispose you to act in a certain way, I don't think that counts as enough of a qualification to disqualify you, because we're also seeing the the ability, like you said, the ability of that human being to be rehabilitated and not behave in the way that they previously behaved in. Um, so I think taking like a eugenics point of view might be not dehumanizing, but might be like talking only about a particular dimension of that particular person rather than looking at the whole picture. Does that sort of?
Mm. Hmm. No, I understand. I just think it's I wanted to bring it up because, it has relevance. The other thing I wanted to say was, oh crap, now I blanked. I keep blanking today. Oh my goodness.
Don't worry
Um,
about it.
oh, so in the United States justice system, I don't know other justice system how it works, but there is a stature that if the person who is going to receive punishment cannot logically comprehend why or what they did wrong, that punishment cannot be administered.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. If they're not able to comprehend what they did wrong,
Yeah.
then they cannot be punished for it.
Yes. There are caveats to this. I don't think that this is something that is typically adhered to, but it is in the Constitution. Like, if someone cannot understand why they're being punished, like, the point of punishment is to administer justice, and if they do not understand that they are in the wrong, they cannot be punished. This is not something that typically takes place, but it's there.
Wow, that is. Yeah, I don't. I think it should be the exact opposite of that. What do you think? I mean, if they cannot, I mean, it's like if they cannot understand what they did wrong, they should be punished so that they realize that they did something wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, well, okay, so it has to do with the, I guess, justice that the family of a victim, this is exclusively murder cases that I'm talking about right now. This is applicable for all crimes. I'm just referring to murder cases. So if, like, say you have an aunt who gets murdered, and the murderer is like, I didn't murder her. I didn't murder her. Like, I literally did not murder her. Um, Technically, is it just the death penalty? Hold on. Maybe it's just the death penalty. I'm sorry. It's been a while since I've learned
That's
about
fine. Don't
this.
worry about it.
Let me look this up. Wrongful execution. Yeah. So wrongful execution is the miscarriage of justice occurring when an innocent person is put to death by capital punishment. So it is just the death penalty. That if you don't understand what you did wrong, you cannot be punished for it. It's just the death penalty.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Because like it would be executing an innocent. Obviously,
Yeah.
if you incarcerate someone who's innocent, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's very murky waters, isn't it? Because I don't. I mean, I personally disagree with that. Like, punishment serves the purpose of of somehow signaling to the person the extent to which their actions were inhumane or wrong, or not matching with the ideals of a social citizen. Um, so yeah, that's sort of it's sort of puzzling to me why they would even do that.
Hmm.
Does that sort of make sense?
Well, okay, so it's not just signaling to the person. Oftentimes in justice, not oftentimes, all the time, punishment is executed not just for the sake of justice, but for the sake of signaling to anyone else outside of the institution of incarceration that if you commit a crime, you will be punished. So it's an example, you know? Um, so, I mean, yeah, like I don't know. It's just it's so I don't know. I just don't believe in taking away a life. But at the same time, that might just be too idealistic of me to say there is always potential in a human life for you to take that away. That is completely morally wrong.
So you're saying that the ultimate humane act would be to forgive the person who's committed the crime, and society should sort of adjust for that in some senses.
I wouldn't say that's forgiveness. Um, and society shouldn't adjust because that would cause disorder. And the punishment system is in place to protect citizens. However, you're asking such hard questions.
That's fine. Don't worry about it. We can switch topics if you want. It's not.
No, but I think it's so interesting because, yeah, like, so the purpose of the punishment system, at least like the prison system in America, incarceration, the prison was first modeled in America, and then every like country around the world, most European countries came to America. They're like, wow, what you're doing is great, and they created their own prisons. So America has the highest incarceration rate in the world. It was all founded here. Not only does prison take you away from society and isolate you from society, but it's also supposed to take away some of your freedoms, and that's like, America is all about freedom, so that is a punishment in itself. I don't know if it would be more beneficial for, like, if someone's on death row and they say, okay, we're not going to execute you, you're just going to stay in prison your entire life, like a life sentence. Is that better than being punished? Is that better than having capital punishment?
I mean, it's more torturous for sure because, like, um, I don't know who this was by, but there was something about the biggest form of punishment is social isolation, where
Hmm.
you're locked in a cell for, I don't know, 15, 17 hours a day, or more,
Hmm.
maybe 20 hours a day or something. And yeah, so I don't know. I mean, in some senses, that's actually better than death penalty in the way that if there is that intent to sort of show them that society has cast them out, then it's the perfect sort of, even metaphorically that sort of fits that you've been ordered to be isolated from all the human beings around you because of something really bad that you did, and we're going to do that to you so that you sort of realize the gravity of your actions, the thing that you've done is so wrong, and yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it's a really slippery slope because you're trying to because ethics sort of it's there's a fine line between I don't know. I'm running out of ideas.
No, yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, and I want to ask you. Um, I literally was thinking, and then I forgot. Oh my gosh, why does this keep happening today? Anyway, so the prison system is kind of this like pretty glorious, shiny thing where we can send all the bad people there, and then the people in like mainstream society that we don't have to think about them. If someone's on death row and they say, okay, we're going to, you know, put you in solitary confinement for like 17 hours a day. Does that mean because this is their punishment? I don't know if I'm really connecting this well in the way that I'm thinking about it, but do you believe that prisoners have rights because they are being punished? Do they get like prisoners' rights?
I don't know. I mean, I think to a certain extent they do.
Mhm.
That's what I would think that they have. Uh, yeah, I mean, you can't have, you can't sort of blame someone. Sort of, you can't sort of sentence someone to punishment without yourself upholding certain moral principles. So I
Mhm.
suppose prisoners should have rights. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It's a very slippery slope.
It
It's
is. There's like levels. There's
yeah,
levels to
it's
this.
extremely convoluted, and I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And I love thinking about it because I think for me personally, what's so hard about the death penalty is I remember a few years ago I read this quote and it said, "We shape how we live our lives around how we regard death." And the fact that I think that's why the death penalty is so hard because that's it. There's no more. I mean, some people might argue against that, but that's something else. So that's why it's so difficult for me to get behind it because I guess, I don't know, it's just if we're shaping our lives how we regard death, then is death in itself, I guess anything could be something good or bad to shape how we live our lives, but it's just, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's like one of those things. Okay, if I were to take it like from first principles, let's just take like a first principles basis of dealing with the decision, right? So you want to get rid of inhumanity. You want to
Mm,
get rid of someone. You don't want to get rid of humanity. You want to sort of strip away the inhumanity from them. So, for example, for a psychopath or a sociopath, I don't know,
mhm,
um, you can be sure that this person is inhumane by nature,
mm.
right? Like their nervous system doesn't allow them to be human in certain senses. So they're basically monsters in some senses. This might be controversial. I might get a lot of flack for this, but yeah, I
It's
don't
okay. I won't judge you. There's no judgment here. There's no judgment here.
know. All right. So you you have to strip away inhumanity. If that's not possible, which would be probably a fraction of the cases involved, if it's not solvable, you just get rid of them, which is the death penalty. And if they have humanity remaining inside of them, then they can be rehabilitated. But in that case, the prisons should be more like a rehabilitation center rather than which sort of exposes them to the things that they need in order to adjust well to society, rather than you sort of get what I'm saying here, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's, well, starting first, so I don't forget. I think that's interesting because okay, so what you're saying is empathy is a like, core aspect of being human. And if you do not have empathy, you are not human.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Interesting, because that kind of like ties back to our discussion of what is good. What is morally good? If I want to kick a grandma and that's good for me, I am living morally. But that's not like empathetic towards the grandma that I just kicked. But to everyone else, they would say, "Oh, you do not have empathy. You are not a morally good person." So I think that it's interesting that you say that empathy is a core aspect of humanity, because that's like it kind of goes into morals. Like, what is morally good? What are things that we should live by in our daily lives? And I think there's a difference between morally good and what benefits society, because of course you're not going to kick a grandma. That doesn't benefit society. So in that aspect, it's not moral, but on an individual level, I get joy out of kicking grandmas. So sorry, I'm like kicking a lot of grandmas right now. And that's morally good for me. Like, it's just, yeah, it's interesting to me. I mean, not that, I mean, I feel like I'm being devil's advocate right now, and I feel like I'm making myself sound like an awful person.
That's fine. This is all conjecture anyway. This is all conjecture, right? That's
Yeah, I don't kick grandmas, I swear. Please don't
yeah.
report me for kicking
Yeah,
grandmas.
as long as we're conjecturing, that's fine, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I think it all has to do with the amount of resources any civilization has to invest in its population. If they have, I mean, because prison probably, I don't know how much they need for funding, but I'm guessing it's going to be a whole lot of money, and it really depends on the frame from which you're exercising judicial power over these people. Um, yeah, I don't think it's a very complicated analysis to deal with, isn't it? Because you're sort of trying to optimize for not just the amount of, not just the money, but even your own understanding of how human beings work, and what is right and what is wrong. So yeah, yeah, it's like an sort of unsolved situation where you don't know the answer. Does
Yeah,
that?
because it's so convoluted. Personally, for me, when I think of things in the world, I cannot think in black and white. So it's hard for me to say, yes, this is what someone deserves. Of course, there's like a petty, vengeful part of me that's like, this person wronged me. So of course they deserve it. I think everyone's like that. But yeah, it's just when it comes to punishment, it's such a difficult topic to even start to crack into, because what is right, you know?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, um, yeah, but I think that would be like a rabbit hole in itself.
Yeah,
Um,
that might have to be another day. We'll come back to it.
yeah, we'll come back to it for sure. Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Do you think it's a good point to stop like finish the podcast at this?
It's up to you if you think that you have enough like editing material.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's like, yeah, I do, yeah,
Okay, yeah, we can stop. I
yeah.
don't want to keep you too long because I know it's like later for you. You're
Oh yeah, yeah, no, that's
ahead.
fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, yeah, I'm just gonna stop recording.
Okay.